007.
What's happening, everybody? It's your man Dame the NYDC, two mics up, and Business Corner. And today we're gonna talk about superstars, right? We're gonna talk about it in a different light. Because we always talk about our athletes and all of our celebrities who are, superstars that we're fans of. But I have somebody today I think you should become a fan of because she's really changing the landscape with the work that she's doing. And one of the most important, if not in my opinion, the most important field comes to education. Our children are being impacted and influenced, by people like today's guest who's joining me on the other mic. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Benita Gordon. Yes, indeed. That's right. Give it to her. Give it to her. The Global Education Concierge. Benita, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm excited. Like I said, because you have such a multifaceted background and you're doing so much to change, the impact in the lives of, so many young men and women.
Right.
It's remarkable. And this is the part that I love. We like to highlight these gems. But before we really get into your work, we always have to start with the first question. Like, who is Benita Gordon? What is she doing when she's not, multitasking and doing all of these great things?
Asleep.
I know that's right.
So I am a native from Lawrenceville, Virginia. Shout out Southside Virginia.
All right.
Don't despise your small beginnings. I grew up
That's
in a
right.
rural community. I loved it. Everyone raised me. It was a village mentality. My mother was a school teacher. Our father was a small business owner. I'm the middle child. And I like to tell when I talk to my students, they always ask, what type of student were you? And I say, I was an athletic nerd who got in trouble.
I love
I,
it.
I have some referrals on my paperwork. And it was never like a disrespect. It was kind of like a little, you know, I dare you to go do that.
I
And I
love it.
did.
I
Um,
love it.
attended Hampton University.
Okay.
Loved it. Grew up as a CIAA baby. My mom, uncles, aunts went to St. Paul's College, Virginia State University, Virginia Union. So just love the gift of education was important. Grew up in a family where my dad is a huge family from Scriven County, Georgia. And he married my mom from Virginia. And so both sides of the family are educators,
Mm-hmm.
business owners, entrepreneurs. And so it's already in my DNA. I was fighting it. I was a nursing major applying to school. As my students like to remind me, in the 1900s.
Okay. Way back when, right?
I love it. I am, and I'm going to embrace all of it. And decided to go into education. Stayed in for 25 years in traditional
Wow.
education, up and down the East Coast and overseas.
Wow.
Did 19 years in middle school. That is my jam.
Wow.
I know people are like, middle school. I love
Middle school of all places. Wow.
love it. You
Wow.
you have to be every teacher that's taught. We find our niche.
Right.
And pre-K teachers, shout out to y'all. No. Um,
Is it off the break? No.
no.
Mm-hmm.
I did do kindergarten. I did do third grade. And thank you to my aunt, Karen Henson, who said, hey, we have a middle school position available at my school. So I started in Sussex County, and then I moved to Newport News, Virginia, and that's where I started in middle school and stuck. Like I loved it. Have done kind of every position in the building. Dean, department chair, team lead. I taught social studies, humanities, ELA, parent engagement director, culture and climate, all of the things that I love. Overseas, set up English departments, came back home. And the entire time I have been that teacher.
Wow.
And so there are two types of that teachers.
Okay, talk about
That teacher we call the basement teacher. They're always complaining and just ugh,
it.
just you. Why are you here?
Just getting a paycheck, basically. You just here to get a paycheck.
And it's not even that great of a paycheck. So why are you
Well, that part too.
why are we here? And
Mhm.
then it's the other kind of that teacher where we're innovative. We don't really follow the rules, but our students are learning. Our students are happy and healthy.
Yeah,
Our parents are okay with what we're
yeah.
doing, and we close the door. And sometimes administrators peek in, but they leave us alone because the kids are passing. We're not causing trouble.
And I think that's the most important part, though, isn't it?
Yes,
That
yes,
innovative, because I think I think back when you're talking, that innovative teacher was the one that I engaged with more.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you're speaking to the child or the student in a manner that really fascinates their mind and activates their mindset to want to learn. Am I correct in that?
100%. A hundred
I,
percent.
mm,
And so I always had a class on where we always had like a lounge and a sofa and bean bags, and my kids could lay on the floor and take their
I
shoes
love
off
it.
and eat, so they could go to the bathroom. I don't care.
I love it. Yeah.
And so I always had to go. Oh, I couldn't do that. I'm sorry, I didn't
Mm,
know.
I
And
love
so we
that.
in education we learn how to do stuff and apologize afterwards. Like, oh,
Right. Hey, we'll worry about this. We'll worry about this later. But let's
yeah,
get these students, the level of education that they need so that they can progress on.
right.
And not. I mean, I found this whole uh, holding kids back. I think it does start with not just the curriculum, but the actual person that is presenting the curriculum to our students. And I love how you broke that down.
Yep.
And I'm curious then, like from your standpoint, like you're very much a creator when from your experience. And one, what was your vision when you started your journey, with the Global Concierge and the Miami Micro Learning Hub? And where did you build that in a way where you really had a vision or envisioned it going somewhere in the educational field or moving the needle some way in the educational field? Because I think that to me is got to be like part of your foundation. I'm really interested to hear that whole thing come together.
So when I thought about the education concierge or global education concierge, it's literally saying globally. Like
Right.
globally, how do I become a guru? How do I become the change agent to go and say, we've been doing this incorrectly?
Mm,
Not only have we been doing this incorrectly, we have to quickly change,
wow.
adjust, unlearn, disrupt it, dismantle it, and then let's put it back together. We have
Right.
to put it back together according to where we are now and
Right.
in the future. Education is one of the few things that's behind the eight ball.
Mm,
We are releasing students
yeah.
into 20. We're in the 22nd century. Let's just be real.
Right.
And we're still giving them paper and pencil tests. We're still giving everybody the same
Same
standard.
state. Yeah. True. So
And
behind we're so behind the eight ball just on that side, just from the thinking, the mindset. Mm,
so we have to restructure. And so during COVID, literally, when the school building closed down and we all went like we are now online,
right.
I, as a human being, as an educator, as a teacher, as a facilitator of learning, as a guru, had to say,
Hmm.
what do I need to change to educate my students who were already behind the eight ball according to traditional education standards?
Right.
So I'm fighting. My students may have to go to work now. I'm fighting
Mm,
students are migrants. I'm fighting my students already in eighth grade were reading on the third grade reading level. And I was
right.
trying to get them up to fifth grade before we released them to high school.
Right.
And now I'm like, okay, we can't sit on this Zoom for 90 minutes. I don't want to sit on the Zoom for 90 minutes.
Not
And so,
today.
not today, and especially on a Friday.
Right.
And so what I was looking at is like, what are the things that I need to change? And how do I go about changing it? Because you change things from inside out and outside in.
Okay. True.
And I had been in the system for so long. I was like, let me retire myself, come
Mm,
out of the system and say, okay, professional development has to change.
Okay.
Parents have to be engaged this way. My mom was PTA president in the 1900s. Okay.
Mm.
My mom was a school teacher. I'm from a two-parent household. We ate dinner together. We went to church. We were in a community together. Somebody told me I was black bougie because we were in Jack and Jill. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because
Things
we're
are different now.
in rural Virginia, there's like a bouginess is different. Okay. And so now I have parents. It can still be two parents. Both are working multiple jobs at times.
Yeah. Wow.
They want to be engaged in their children's education, but they are thriving and not striving yet. So it looks different. And so I've taken all of those things into my business. And people say, well, are you a coach? Are you a consultant? Are you an advisor? I'm a concierge. And a concierge is all of those
All
things.
of those things. Yes. I love that.
All of those things. And so we sit down with the person, we sit down with the family. I sit down with the educator and say, okay, what's your needs? Where are you trying to go? And sometimes they'll tell me, I don't know. And I tell them, let's start from the beginning. And then I also flip over to the innovative education. So that's one of the things that I love, like micro school, helping homeschool parents. It's not a us versus them. It's us and them.
I know that's right.
You know, public school can't, and I know because I was there, I can't get all the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And traditional school isn't for all the kids. Like it's not for all the kids. And so
it's really not.
I mean, you're in the community, you see it.
Look, you have to know your children first of all. Every child is different. Every child has a different skill set, and every child is not destined to be in school. So I've always said, challenge your child. Find out that thing that they're passionate about. Because a lot of times, if you're passionate about it and it's something that you love, you're gonna put your best foot forward. And I think understanding life, you want to be able in any situation, be able one to adapt and then to be able to put your best foot forward so that you can show up and be the best self and to be the best person that you can. And sometimes school is not it. You can get a trade. You can go. There's so many different skill jobs out here now that you can go do and still be successful. It doesn't have to look like a 9 to 5 in a suit and a tie. There's different ways to do it, and I really love like how you're really pushing that and the conversations and the dynamics that you have with the parents or had with parents while you were, one a teacher, but now as you started your business. I'm curious to know like the conversations and what approach or strategy do you maybe employ to maybe try to help drive like the transformation of education in these families' household?
So you said it. I asked the parents, like, do you know your kid? I work with a lot of middle school and high school parents. And their answer is always a lot of times, I think I do. And that's an honest answer. Some of them do, some of them don't. And when I ask that, I'm talking about like, what do you think they want to be?
Right.
What do you think they actually like and love? What do you think they're good at?
Right.
And then we have to have a conversation as a family. It's so interesting to hear parents say, oh, I want you to go to college, which is what 80% of the parents want. Right. And for the student to say, but Uncle so-and-so is an electrician, and I want to be a master electrician like him.
Go for it.
So-and-so has a barbershop, and I've been cutting the football players' hair since junior high.
Go for it.
Right. And so then it's a conversation of allowing the parents to take a breath and processing, and then seeing this is the trajectory of your child. Now, there are times when hardcore 100% you go into college and you can do whatever you want to do.
Right. True.
Great. Okay. But I also say to the parents, now you're about to spend $56,000 a year for a degree that he or she will not use. When you can take the $56,000, they'll take about $12,000 to finish their trade school.
Yep.
And then you have that investment money.
That's right. Into their business.
And so it's
whatever.
just, but it goes back to unlearning. So
Yes,
we have this narrative where for a long time, and especially in our community, I'm just going
in
to be
our
very
community.
real.
Hmm.
It was necessary for us to have a degree.
Yes.
Like we
Ooh,
had to.
just had this
But
conversation.
right, but now, like I have students, I know they make more. They tell, I know how much you make, and they're like, we make more than you.
And you.
I'm a
Mhm.
I'm a senior citizen in education. I'm at the top when you
Right,
look at the pay scale,
right.
and that, I have a student that works on the oil rig.
Mm, making
His
that
first
money.
2 years, he made more money than that.
Making that money. Yeah.
His wife is a not an RN. What's the other one that you don't have, you can
Oh,
see them instead of seeing the doctor?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know it's a specialist, basically.
Specialist, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing couple.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I didn't know the wife, but I taught this the her husband. I taught the
Right.
young man.
Right.
And he was like, you always said we didn't have to go to school, but we had to have a plan.
Yeah, you gotta have a plan.
You
It's
have to
true.
have a plan. And you have to have a goal. And that's what you spoke about just now. Like you have to have a goal, have a plan, and then we come along and guide you.
And guide you. And it just make it. I was just having this conversation the other day, and I learned this later on in life by having a conversation with someone else. You touched on it when you say, hey, we have this misunderstanding that we have to have a degree, right? And even going to school, you spend all this money for a 4-year degree, you come out to $200,000 in debt, and it's the way that we go about it. And someone broke it down to me. I was having a conversation, and it said, because I was going to go to I was going to go to St. John's University, whatever. My mom got sick, yada yada. I went to community college route, blah blah blah. Still got the same degree.
Yes.
And he's in the person I saw. He said, Americans, especially in our community, we have it backwards. We're trying to compete. We think we have to go to a 4 year school. You're putting your kids, or so you're already under duress financially. Now you're creating more financial duress for your kids because you never had the opportunity to go to school. So you want your kids to do it. Great. But there's an easier route to go. Go ahead and have them go to a junior college like you did. Go ahead. You're saving instead of you already saved about $100,000, by just going to community college. You go ahead and you spend a little money on your next 2 years, but where you should be spending your money is on your master's degree for those who want to go the educational route. And it just blew my mind when I had to think about it because even in our household, I never talked about it. My parents never talked about it. My mom and my grandfather was from Puerto Rico, came over here. He didn't speak Spanish in the house. We had to learn American customs and we had to do everything the American way. And my mom was like, "Boy, you going to college?" There was like no ifs, ands, or buts. And I had to get that degree. But like when I look back at it, there's so many different avenues. And again, I mean, I'm thankful in
Yes.
my choice,
Yes.
how it turned out. But I know a lot of people who don't that I went to school with that. Look, my wife, I mean, she came out with she owed the grip coming out. I mean, it took about 10 years, you
Yes.
know, and why do you want to saddle yourself with that? And it just goes back to, they say, having someone like yourself is really an outlet because just listening, it just draws on so many different things to think about and have conversations about. And I think that's really important in our community because we don't do that enough. And, there should be more people like you that are doing these type of things. And before we transition, I got to take a short pause for the cause. I want to
Yes.
come back after the break. I want to thank our sponsors for being here because I really want to dive in and talk to you just real quick about where you see the future of education heading, because I think that's really important. Because man, it's changed. I know since I've been in school, and since my daughter's been in college, which has been less than 10 years, but a lot has changed. So we're going to dive into that when we get back, ladies and gentlemen. So don't go anywhere. Be right back on the other side of the break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back fresh out the break. We're back with the amazing Benita Gordon of Global Education Concierge. dropping gems and dropping knowledge and just having a really great conversation. And Benita, like I said before we went into the break, I just wanted to talk about how education is changing, and where do you see education going? I think you're smiling. So where do you see it going and evolving into as we move into the future?
So let me say a couple of things. One, we have to accept that technology, AI, and all of the things
Mm,
that go with it is here. And in the education profession, we have
mm,
to not be afraid. We're going to have to walk through it. There's no way of getting around it. Matter of fact, a lot of us already knew we were using it in our classrooms 10 years ago.
mm. Okay.
We were using it on our phones like 10 years ago.
Wow.
We joke about it now when you're having a conversation with someone and then you go to social media, it pops up and it's about the same thing you just had the conversation about. We're here. Okay.
Crazy.
So now our students, and I told somebody the other day, I did a conference and I said, don't mistake smart for wisdom.
Mm.
Okay. Wisdom
Wow.
trumps smart every time.
Every
So
time.
as the educators, as the guides, as the parents, as the aunties, as the uncles, as the community, it's our wisdom that helps guide them to make sure that they are smart.
That's so
And
true.
so we're not going to be scared. Like the other day, a teacher's like, I don't want to give them the laptops because they might get on something that they shouldn't be on. And they will.
They like they haven't done it already.
And we have children. We
Mhm,
guide them to understand, hey,
mhm.
we are in this space for this reason using this technology.
Right.
If
I
you do the
love that.
following things, your privileges will unfortunately have to be revoked. And then you will have to do it this way, which we don't want that. I'm trying to move us
Move
ahead.
this ahead.
So that's the first thing. So technology is here.
Mhm.
As the educator and
Right.
as the administrators, as the school board members, as the superintendents, you're going to have to train the educators.
Right.
So you have to invest in the technology training for the educators.
Mm. Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's first.
Right.
Second, we're going to have to release this understanding that school has to be from 8 to 3. And we're
I
going to
like
have
that.
to release this knowledge or thought pattern that it must look like this. They
Right.
must learn this way.
Right.
The wonderful thing I love about correct and appropriate homeschooling, the wonderful thing I love about correct and appropriate charter schools and micro schools is that it gives parents, guardians, and students choices.
Oh, okay.
And
Options.
a lot of states now are giving the funding so that you can now say, hey, I would like to go to Miami Micro Learn Hub. I would like to go to Kind Academy. I would like to go to the Lab School of Memphis. I would like to go to a Kai Pod. I would like to go
Mm.
to a Michael School of Alabama, Birmingham
Right.
situation. And it's opening doors. And it is opening doors for minorities because we were never part of the
Part of that.
original plan.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's what we're seeing Montessori micro schools,
See them everywhere.
Montessori middle schools.
That's right.
And so we're making sure that, and I want to say I said it correctly, appropriate teaching.
Teaching.
Okay. I'm not
Mhm.
talking about, you get your kid, there's a plan. Homeschool, people don't understand homeschooling parents, homeschooling mom and dads, they plan.
That's right.
Now it's not structured like traditional, but they have a point A,
Yeah, good
point
point.
Z.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. It's not all mm-mm.
Yeah.
Now, so as in the traditional, we're gonna have to release some things. And I heard somebody say, "Oh, in the next 10 years, public schools might be gone away." They won't. Let's just be real.
Mhm.
Public schools will be around, but what's
Mhm.
going to happen is how they look and feel will change.
Mm. Interesting.
Our
Interesting.
clients have changed.
That's right. It's true. It's the way. I mean, our social interactions and the way that everything has changed. So I agree with you that that means that we, from educator standpoint, we have to adjust on how we are meeting not only our students and our parents, but how we're also delivering that information for
Yes,
them to be able to receive it, to be as successful as they possibly can be.
yes.
You got to give them those tools.
So the original understanding for education in America was to produce workers
Hmm.
for the factories. Okay,
Mm. Right.
Now we understand that we are to produce amazing citizens. We are to
Right.
produce business women and men. We are to
Mm-hmm.
produce entrepreneurs. We are to produce everything that the world needs, and we don't even know
Right.
we need it yet.
Wow. Look at that. Mm.
And so that's where education is going. So when I say to people, we need to be in the 22nd century. We need to hold conferences. We
Yeah.
need to hold summits. We need to hold podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
conferences, and say, how are we not just in education,
Right.
in business? And but you speak to business leaders all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
listen, one of the things. Look, I can't find anybody to work.
Right. Right. It's hard out here. It's rough.
But that's
It's rough.
really soft skills are just as essential as you understanding how to work a computer.
Listen, sometimes the soft skills are more important depending on where you are. And I've always been one of those people. Give me the soft skills. I can tell you and help you and show you where to go to get all this other stuff. But if you're inept in communicating with people,
Yes,
if you're inept and I tell people it's not about hearing, it's what you listen. See, listening and taking in, I don't want you to hear me. I want you to listen. I want you to process. Just those little things. That's what really drives, in my opinion, the workforce and how we interact and how you build a business. So I'm with you on that evolution. And man, I'm sitting here looking at it. Time is flying by. We are back in. The amazing conversation. We can continue to have this on. And
yes.
Benny, you're always welcome to come back. I mean, and I mean that because you have so much other stuff that we haven't talked about. We want to talk about your podcast. Maybe we'll have you come back. We'll just talk about your podcast and everything else solo. But as we close out this discussion, like I do want to give you, 1 or 2 minutes just to, is there anything that I didn't ask you today that you wanted to share with our audience, to leave a resounding impact with them, and I want to make sure they go out and follow you and support you as well.
So I want to speak to two sets of people. The first set of people I want to speak to are educators. Educators, it is rough. I'm in the trenches still, even though I'm out of the traditional classroom. I'm still in education. I see it every day. I want you to be encouraged, but I want you to also understand that there are times when you can say no. There are
Mm,
times when the pushback is real. There are times when you do know what's best for the students in that classroom, and you
mm,
need to speak up.
I love it. I love
That's,
it.
and then the second group I want to talk about is the parents. I have said this all the time. I'm gonna keep saying it. If you get 5 parents at a school board meeting,
Mm,
if you get 5 parents at a PTA meeting, and I don't mean you up here causing ruckus. I mean you have come to discuss the things. You
wow.
have come on behalf of the students and the teachers and the parents, and you have come to make a real significant change in the life of the children and the life of the people that are in the building. They will listen to you quicker than they listen to 1,000 teachers.
Mm, mm.
So you have that power.
Look, I can't. No better way to end that. Parents, understand your power. Show up
Show
for
up.
your kids, for the children, and be that voice and leave that indelible mark. So
Yes.
they know that you are there as a unit together.
Yes.
And I couldn't agree with that anymore. Benita, thank you so much. Before we go, I want to please take a moment, share your social media with our audience. I want to make sure and encourage everyone to go out, follow, support you, and we're going to drop that in the show notes as well.
So I am on LinkedIn, Benita C. Gordon. Instagram, it is the Edu Concierge, or is the Edu Concierge podcast. And I'm on YouTube. We also on Miami _ Micro Learn Hub. That is the micro school we are creating in the south part of Miami. But I travel everywhere. Right now, I'm in Memphis working with a micro school.
All right.
I just follow me, contact, reach out, support all podcasts, subscribe,
I love it.
share, and just collaboration. Collaborate. We cannot do this thing by ourselves. We
Mm.
can't.
Can't say it any better, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there you have it. Another great episode. Benita Gordon, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your humble host, Damon Cunningham. You are watching Two Mics Up on the Nfusion TV channel, all brand new, my channel. We are being aired on the Mobile TV Global Network. This is season 7 that's coming up, so check us out. And like we always do at the end of every show, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with 3 things. May you stay safe, stay blessed, Mike's out.
007.